This is India Shawn, and You Know I Got Soul.
All right, India, so you released your Origin EP back in 2012, but you had been in the industry for many years prior to that, writing, getting placements, and behind the scenes. So talk about where you got your start and some of the placements you had along the way.
Okay. I started off writing music with my sister and a good friend of ours in college at Georgia State. We were writing in our dorm rooms, and I had some really good relationships with some local producers because of my artistry that was, kind of budding in Atlanta at the time. So we began writing actually with Hit Boy and a producer named Mad Scientist, Polo the Don, who ended up signing us to a publishing deal through Universal Music. And that was really like my early history in writing. That moved us to LA, where we started writing for Chris Brown, Carrie Hilson, Monica, writing with Timbaland, also with Dr. Dre, you name it. Our very first placement was on El DeBarge. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun in LA writing.
When you released that Origin EP, what type of doors did that open for you? Because you released this really dynamic project, caught a lot of people's attention, but you had been behind the scenes for so long before that. So what happened after that?
Well, actually, it was the writing that sparked the whole theme of Origin for me. When I was writing, I wasn't doing much singing. I was only writing for others and demoing music, but I wasn't, working on my own stuff, and I was neglecting it. So one day, a song, which ended up being the last song on Origin, Be Myself, came to me. It literally just came to me. And I just began writing it down, and that song really prompted a desire in me to move back to Atlanta and write my Origin album.
Talk about your sound, because when we listen to music, it's like a breath of fresh air. You've got these recognizable R&B elements, but you really push the limits. Sonically, it's something different with something that we're used to. So, where did you develop your sound?
I just think like my diverse palette. I listen to, of course, like everybody always brings up Brandy. So, of course, I grew up on Brandy and Destiny's Child, Lauryn Hill, Mariah Carey. But I also love alternative music, and I love indie rock. I love Tame Impala, Unknown Mortal Orchestra. I love Radiohead and Coldplay. I love country music. So I think just that mashup of eclectic tastes came together, and I look forward to experimenting even more on my next project.
With it being 2015 and being a female songstress right now, that's content is different and eclectic, what are some of your expectations, if any, when people, for the new people who are hearing your music for the first time?
Expectations
for them hearing, what do you feel like they would draw from you, from your music, and that sort of thing?
Okay, I think that, like your partner said, people seem to say it's a breath of fresh air. They like that it's something new. I touch on things that aren't as cliche as a lot of R&B that we're used to. My music is very personal, very honest, and I try to make it a little uplifting here and there. I used to say I wanted to make cool gospel, so this is kind of my way of like spreading the good news and just kind of teaching through personal experiences.
And all those things are evident on the EP you just released, The Outer Limits,
okay.
The collaboration with Fauntleroy.
Thank you.
I guess first of all, talk about how that collaborative project came together.
Okay. I met James Fauntleroy years ago through MySpace. We became friends, and I was a huge fan of his. He had just put out his very first placement, which was No Air. Well, that wasn't his first one. That was the first big one. And he liked my little 3 songs that were on my MySpace page, and we just started corresponding and have been really cool ever since. We always wanted to work on a project together, so he hit me up, flew me out, and we did this project in like a matter of weeks, and people seem to love it, so.
I was reading about the creation that when you approached him and he asked you what type of sound you wanted to do, you basically said something like you wanted to take it to the outer limits,
yeah.
and then he just kind of went off with that. So how did that How did that go?
Yeah, he's a genius in that way. You know what I mean? He literally took it beyond what I could have even ever imagined for it to be. And so I appreciate that. But yeah, when I got there, he was like, what do you want to do? And I was just like, I want to go to the outer limits. And he was like, are you sure about that? You want to go to the edge? I'm like, yeah, I do. And he literally freestyled this song. So that's James.
How do you tap into that aura to create, such an organic experience for the listener?
I think through collaborations for me. I mean, like I said, definitely working with James, who makes it look so easy. You know what I mean? My contribution on this project was more conceptual than anything. You know, I put my 2 cents in here and there, but when you're working with somebody like that, you just have to kind of give them the reins. You know what I mean? So I think just his energy, made for a really great environment.
I found this great quote you had about using music as art, basically as an art form. You said art is freedom. It's about exploring and expressing every part of you.
Yes.
And which I thought is awesome because, these days music isn't always used as a true art form for everyone. So, and I feel like that embodies your music when you listen to it. So just talk about that quote and what it means to you.
For me, that was like my way of telling my listeners, look, this isn't Origin. You know what I mean? The Outer Limits is going to be something different. I'm going to say some things I've never said. I'm going to force you to use your creativity. I'm going to, force you to kind of figure out what I'm talking about on some songs. But, that's art. And I just didn't want to be... I didn't want to be held to what I've done in the past, you know what I mean? So I wanted to give that little disclaimer, like, look, this is art, and this is a part of me that you guys may have not seen, but it does exist, and I want you to appreciate it as much as you've appreciated, everything else I've done. So that was just my disclaimer for Outer Limits.
Awesome. Can you talk about some of the Brandy comparisons you've got? Because, we go online, we see some of the Brandy forums, and they're talking about your music, and Brandy fans are now fans of you just because sonically, the vocal tone is similar, but how do you take those?
I mean, it's the craziest compliment in the world. Brandy to me is the greatest. And so the comparison is a little, I don't know. I don't know how true it is, but I think it is, the airiness and the raspiness at times that draw comparisons. But as far as technique, Brandy is next level. I still worship her. Brandy, I love you if you're watching this. Like they say, she's the vocal Bible. I'm just kind of skimming the surface of it, but I do appreciate the comparisons.
Awesome. And now, can you talk about this song you wrote for Ashanti, Don't Tell Me No?
Yeah.
That's a personal favorite of ours, so
Wow.
How did that one come together?
Cool. So I created that with my writing team, Full Circle. Shout out to my sister Jasmine and our friend Keisha, who collaborated with me on that song. The producer was a guy named Mansour out in LA, and we wrote that while we were out there writing, and didn't know it would ever land on Ashanti. We were just, that was our daily thing, going to studios, writing songs. And we really liked that song, too. We always wanted it to be placed. Ashanti heard it. She cut it. She changed a few lines. But it's still a great song, so I was happy to have that placement. That was a surprise. Didn't even know it was coming out. Mansour.
We love the BBM line. We're Team Blackberry, so that was in the song.
That's how you know it was kind of dated.
Oh,
That's you know the song was old. That's when people actually had Blackberries. Or do you have a Blackberry?
It's okay.
Sorry.
And lastly, just wanted to touch on the Stevie Wonder EP, tribute EP you put out. What made you want to take that on? Because I know it's a challenge for to cover Stevie Wonder songs, but you pulled it off.
It was a huge challenge. My manager came to me with this idea, and I was kind of apprehensive at first because, like I said, it's Stevie Wonder, everybody's favorite artist, favorite songwriter. But his birthday was coming up. I do love Stevie. I thought it was a cool idea that people would really enjoy, and I hadn't put out any content. It was time for me to put some music out, so it just made sense. And I gathered some of my favorite producers, and we did the best we could. But people actually really loved it, and I think it sounds good. Pretty good.
Good job. And then just lastly, what can we expect next?
I am in creation mode right now. So I'm just listening to a lot of music now that I have some downtime. I'm studying. I am becoming a listener and a fan of music again, and just gathering some ideas for my next project. So yeah, look forward to some new music hopefully by the end of the year. And I will probably be in your city trying to promote this EP as much as I can, Outer Limits, which is why I'm here at SOB's tonight. And I look forward to traveling for the rest of the year.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I love your blog so much. You know I got soul. Thank you so much for having me and supporting me throughout the years, supporting Origin. I never knew anybody would care about that project. I did it for my own self, and the fact that you guys have picked it up and played it for your listeners, I just appreciate you guys so much. So thank you.
Welcome. Appreciate that.